Welcome back to Void Racer Devlog number 6. We are closing in on the end of this month and the end of this series, so that means that I have some stuff to get done. I spent so much time just trying to get the car and the AI working well that I pretty much have the rest of the game to figure out at this point. And I've got little less than a week to do it. Also, I was wanting to get you guys involved in this game and allow you to name the AI racers. So leave me a comment down below, leaving a suggestion for a name of these AI racers, and you can put a color and everything down there too, and you might be a part of this game. I need about 6 to 10 depending on how many good suggestions we get. So I thought that might be something fun to do and reward you guys for watching my videos. So we've got this video coming out on the 26th. There will be another video coming out on Monday the 29th, and then honestly the video at the end of next week will probably be on Void Racer as well, just showing the final product, because there's a couple days in there that I will miss with the next one. Even though I will have already started work on the next game, the videos will just kind of be delayed like that. But this game should be out for you guys to play with in less than a week. So let's jump right into what I've been working on for this week. I mentioned in the last one that this one is going to be mostly focused on items, which is 100% true. The only other thing I added that wasn't item related was the secondary lighting on the track. I created kind of a lamppost that goes over the track. So basically I was just shooting for something that looked like it fit with the rest of the track and cast some light on the track in the super dark areas. And I think it looks pretty cool. It works really nice with the reflection probes and looks cool as the car is going underneath of it, so I think that works pretty well. Now for the items. There were 4 basic items that I was shooting for with this, and I might add more later, but given how many days I have left, that's not likely. So I created a missile, a barrier, a black hole, and an overheat power up. So let's just run down the list, and I'll talk about the 3D modeling, the visual effects work, and the actual implementation of these. So first up we have the missile, and the goal for that was just to shoot a missile and hit a target player. So here is the 3D model. I made it in Blender. It was very simple. I kept it low poly because most people aren't even going to see it. It's on the screen for just a couple seconds and it's traveling very fast. So I just went for something really basic and low poly here, and then I put some textures on it in Substance Painter and brought it into Unity. And the visual effects for this one were pretty simple. I used the same boost particles that I used for the car. I just put that on the missile as well and changed the color, and I think that does its job decently well. It is very noticeable in the sky and it leaves a path of where it's going. And then once it hits its target, it destroys itself and creates sort of an explosion effect. And for that, I just created a really simple flip book using Photoshop, and I just used like their cloud generator and kind of erased some different spots, and I just created 4 frames to give it a little bit of variation. And then I just used some gradient colors to multiply over the color of the flipbook, and that's how we have this explosion here. So as far as the actual functionality of the missile, it just shoots out of the front of your car and heads right at your target. I don't have a complete targeting system yet. Right now it only shoots at one of the other racers. I believe it's the red one. But eventually, once I have some UI and stuff for this, I'm going to allow for targeting. And it's mostly going to be limited to what you can see on your screen, so if there's a racer in front of you. And that's pretty much it. But once you fire it, it shoots towards the target, and it goes very fast, and it'll shoot basically right at the center of their car. And once it gets there, or there's a timer, if it for some reason doesn't get there, it'll just blow up after like 5 seconds. But it'll hit there, and then it just creates an explosion. And there is quite a bit of a radius here with this explosion, so if there are cars around it, all the cars will be impacted, including yourself if you happen to fire it at a racer that's very close to you. And it just sends everybody flying like you would expect an explosion to do. So I was thinking this could be fun. If you get hit with an explosion, more skilled players might be able to use the boost to kind of recover from it without too much of a penalty. And I think that really lends to just the chaotic nature of the game. Next up we have the barrier. This one's a little more simple. You just drop a barrier behind you that lasts for a little bit, and if another racer or yourself hits this barrier, you get stunned for a few seconds. First, let's talk about the 3D model. This one was also very simple. I just created the post in Blender very similar to how I did the rocket, and then textured it in Substance Painter. This is what the post looks like, so I just created another one and turned it around for the other side of the post. And then I created a shader for the cube in the center. Now, I thought about having some sort of animation, and I'll still add this if I have time, to have this start small and then have the posts move out, creating the barrier in between them. So I created the shader to allow for that in the hexagon pattern. So it's basically tileable, and it's tileable down to each individual hexagon tile. So theoretically, I should be able to make this any width and height, and it should still look good, and all the hexagons should be the same size. So we'll see how that goes, but for right now it's just one size. So this one, you drop behind the car when you press the item button, and any racer that comes into contact with it gets stunned. And basically what that does is it just takes away their controls for a little bit. It locks in steering to a random direction, so they might crash into a wall. It cuts off your acceleration, and it doesn't allow you to jump or boost. That's a very quick effect, because I didn't want to like completely just take someone out of the race. So it's kind of like an EMP blast. It just completely shuts off their controls for around a second and then gives them control back. Thought here is that if you have quick reaction time and you see someone drop that in front of you, you can jump and boost over it. So once again, adding to the give and take of these items. I really wanted that to be the focus, that I didn't want the items just to be a switch and then you screw over some other players. I wanted the other players that are being hit by it, and you being hit by their stuff, to have a chance to sort of get out of it or recover without too much trouble. Next up, we have the Overheat Power Up. I think this is the least interesting of the four, but the idea is to just overheat your systems. And I don't have the boost fully implemented yet. I'm waiting for the UI to do that. But my idea with how you're going to use boost is... because like Rocket League, for example, you drive over a boost pad and then it gives you some boost, and you can use up that boost, but once it hits 0, you have no more boost. This one I'm going for more of a increase in heat and then an overheat period. So you always have boost, but if you boost for too long, it will overheat and then you have to wait for it to cool down again. But if you never let it overheat, you can, you know, kind of feather your boost. So that's kind of what I was going for. So this Overheat Power Up, you can hit a target with it and it will overheat their car so they can no longer boost, and then they can no longer jump. It also turns the screen red. I did this with the vignette. I just basically changed the color of the vignette to red and then increased the intensity all the way up. So it just kind of messes with your senses and might cause you to not drive as well. There were no models and very little special effects for this one, so like I said, it's the least interesting of the four. Next one, the black hole, I think is probably the most interesting of the four. So this one, the only model involved is just a sphere, and I just used Unity's default sphere and put a Fresnel effect on it using a custom shader, and that gives it that nice glow like we think black holes look like. And then I created just kind of a swirl pattern in Photoshop. I used a particle system to just kind of create a bunch of those that are rotating and kind of changing size to give it this effect. And, you know, crank up the color intensity on all of them so they look like they're glowing. That was pretty much it for the special effects on the black hole. So as far as functionality, it comes out of the top of your car, right above you, and right now I have it affecting you, but I think I'm going to put something in that gives the user of it immunity from it, because otherwise whenever you use this power up, you'd be caught up in it. But it does what you think a black hole would do. It applies a suction force on pretty much everything, pulling them back in towards the center of the black hole. Now, if you're on the outer edges of it, you can probably get away pretty easily, especially using boost, as long as you're kind of pointed in the right direction. The closer to the center you are, the more likely you are to be pulled and kind of whipped around for a little bit. It's not a very long power-up because, once again, I didn't really want to screw over whoever gets trapped up in it. But I think this one's pretty fun, and it's funny to watch the cars get lifted up off the track and then swirl around this for a little bit and then try and get their feet under them again, or wheels under them, I should say. So those were the 4 items that I have so far. Let me know what you think of these. I'm probably going to tweak these a little bit just as I test and play a bit more. One issue that I know I have is the separating effect, that people in the front tend to stay there and the people in the back tend to get further away from the players in the front. So I need to do something to help kind of close that gap, especially this being a little more arcadey. I need to give people a chance to catch back up. So I'm probably going to do that, and I might tweak some of these power-ups to reflect that. Alright, well that's it for this update. In the next video, we're going to be tackling UI, and that should be one of the last major things. I need a start screen, I need in-game UI, and then I need a finish screen. And then, of course, I need to set up the things like the boost, your position, which item you currently have, and then I need to track things like position and laps. And don't forget, I am needing names for these AI players, so let me know what your suggestion for a name is down in the comments. You can put a color there as well, because I will need different colors for the different racers. I think I'm going to have 8 different ones total, maybe a couple more if we end up getting a bunch of good suggestions. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.